right, happy Cowboys Overtime, everybody. Let me try that again. I think you thought I was going to say happy Thanksgiving, but I realized just before I did this, Thanksgiving is next week.
That's good because you haven't shopped yet, I would assume, right?
Glad you brought that up. No. In fact, though, I don't know if you've noticed this. Matt Engel, Fort Worth Star Telegram, Nick Harris, Fort Worth Star Telegram, Cowboys know-it-all, football know-it-all. Nick, you know what I have noticed about shopping? I was at one of the grocery stores the other day. That's another thing. When did we evolve from just going to one grocery store as opposed to now 3 or 4 to accommodate all of our grocery needs? So is that only me that does this, or is that like a thing?
Well, I am blessed because about, late October, an H-E-B opened 7 minutes away from me. So my days of having to go to multiple stops are well behind me. Thank goodness.
Well, Linda, you'll be glad to know your daughter, Candy, just blew us up and said, I just go to Tom Thumb. Well, aren't we better than everybody else? You know who's also better than everybody else? Your Dallas Cowboys. That's right. You like that transition? That's a pro right there. As bad as I was, they came back and rallied, kind of like the Cowboys are doing this season, en route to a Super Bowl. Cowboys blew out the Raiders on Monday night in Las Vegas. I don't even know what the score was. It was a terrible game. The Raiders are awful. I don't know why Pete Carroll wanted to coach that team. Cowboys looked awfully good. They are now just a game under 500. Nick, you were there on the Strip, winning money probably hand over a fist, as well as probably throwing up on the Strip at 7:30 in the morning with CeeDee Lamb, but we didn't report that. What was the best part of it? Realistically, what was the most encouraging detail to that game that you thought, okay, it's not just because they played a bad Raiders team, it's because they were actually really good at these parts that they can translate to success moving forward to the rest of the season?
If I could go down the rabbit hole of the rumor about the 7:30 a.m. just for a sliver of a minute.
Yeah, give the backstory on it, so go ahead.
I want to preface that all of this is alleged. None of this is confirmed. I've tried to sneak in some questions to people here and there. No one's saying a word. And honestly, it really does not matter. But the rumor is, the alleged part is, George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb were suspended for that first drive because they had a night out in Vegas at Red Rock Casino, which is on the west side of Las Vegas. And allegedly, CeeDee Lamb was seen around 7:30 a.m. throwing up in the parking lot. I want to go down that little rabbit hole just for a second because on Tuesday, on his weekly radio hit, Jerry Jones said that George Pickens' performance was the most impressive he's ever seen. And when you look at his stat line, it's like, I don't know, Jerry. I mean, there's been some more impressive games from your players. It was a great game from George Pickens, but it's been more impressive. But you factor in that context, and he might be right. So I just wanted to go down that rabbit hole just for a sliver of a moment.
That's a good point, because if you do factor in being hungover and then you go out and perform. Now, granted, we got to take one thing into consideration. If they're throwing up their guts at 7:30 in the morning and the game is until 7:30 at night,
5:15 because it was on the West Coast.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was going to ask. I forget the Mountain Pacific time thing out in Vegas where that line falls into. But I think, Jerry is prone to hyperbole, but anybody who's gone out and had been overserved, and listen, it's not their fault. You know what I mean? You blame your buddies. It's not their fault. The drinks just keep coming. And then you go out and just tear it up as an NFL wide receiver, even if it's against the Raiders. That should factor in. I'm not saying Ring of Honor performance, but I do think if we look in the history of high major sports, probably high school too, sometimes guys have gone out and done it when they're not feeling 100%. And if we're going to talk about the flu game with Michael Jordan.
I was about to bring it up.
You know what I mean? I know it's food poisoning, bad pizza at 2 a.m., says Michael Jordan. But I want to hear when George is retired after a great career, and he says, yeah, man, I really torn off, and we didn't shut it down until 7:30 in the morning. That's Nick. That's the one that's going to win you a Pulitzer.
Yeah, but I just wanted to go down that rabbit hole. But the most encouraging thing out of the game was not that. It was the defense. These defensive additions, you saw an impact from nearly all of them. Yeah. We'll start with Quinnen Williams. A sack and a half. He already has more sacks than Mozzie Smith had in his entire career in Dallas. I don't know if that's true.
Why is Mozzie catching strays? Although you were in Vegas, so shout out to Tupac. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. I was trying to correlate the correlation.
Sorry. That's really dark.
It is really dark. But you saw the impact Quinnen Williams had immediately. He had a boatload of quarterback pressures on Geno Smith. I mean, it's a bad Raiders offensive line again, but you got to play who's on the schedule, and they played this game. They played this team in dominating fashion. But you saw the impact that Quinnen Williams had, not only for himself but the guys around him. In the second level, it was Logan Wilson, the linebacker edition. You saw how he was able to quickly read and identify run lanes. I thought Malik Hooker played his most decisive and sound game of the season. I think that's byproduct of all the new pieces around him really starting to assimilate well. DeMarvion Overshown still getting his legs under him. There was still some times where his eyes were in some bad spots. He was play action and the boots from Geno Smith in the first half really made him bite a couple of times. But you saw the athleticism, which was what I think you wanted to see more than anything coming off of another knee surgery. You saw him flying to the sideline, getting to guys. I thought he played a sound game in his first effort back. But the guy I definitely want to talk about is Savone Revel, the third-round rookie corner out of East Carolina. Played only 18 snaps, but my goodness, those are a really good sample size that you can build off of moving into the future. You see the physical tools on display. You saw them downfield a little bit. He had a defensive holding call in one of his first snaps, but aside from that, he played a really sound game. And I think that's a corner that I think the Cowboys should have some confidence in moving forward. Another corner that they should have confidence in moving forward is Kalen Carson, the only defensive player to play every snap in this game. He played all 60 and played really well in this ball game. Start of the year on IR, kind of had to find his way onto the roster by way of injury. He was moved up when Trayvon Diggs was moved to IR, and now he's starting and he's getting every single snap and looking fantastic doing it. So, who knows? It's kind of funny because if Trayvon Diggs does come back this season, this team went from only having one corner to, okay, we're going to have to sit a really good corner on the bench probably because Kalen Carson's looked really good. Deron Bland is starting to get back to his form. Savone Revel is looking like the product he was before the knee injury, at least in the short sample size that we have. And if Trayvon Diggs comes back 100% healthy, then that's a guy you have to probably rotate in rather than start. So it's going to be fascinating to see what this defense does the rest of the way.
Tell you what, the one I was really excited. I totally echo everything you said. Obviously, you had a better view of it than I did. Specifically, as it related to Marvin Overshown. Gosh, he was so good just at the time he was injured last year.
Yeah.
And if somehow he's had so many injuries, if he can somehow get through this, there's a real player there. There's a real player there. But the Quinnen Williams was, God, he was good. He was so good. And again, you mentioned it. Raiders' offensive line isn't that good, but that's a big-time player. That is a big-time player. And, yeah, I know Osa Digizua had a really nice season last year, and he looks like, he's a good pro. There's a difference between a good pro and an all-pro, and we saw that on Monday night.
Yeah.
Quinn Williams is a monster, and they have not had that player. They had some good seasons with Leroy Glover as a D tackle. Yeah. They had some very good seasons with Jay Ratliff, but Jay was a little undersized. His was more about just, ferocity in the motor. He was good too. I don't get me wrong. I don't want to underscore how good he was, but I can't think of the last guy that they had like the body type and the athleticism and the skill at that. I can't think of a guy in the last. Russell Maryland, and Russell, that predates me. Russell was good. He's an amazing college player, but not like this guy. This guy looks like an absolute monster. So clearly the early returns are really encouraging. What did you – I don't know how much time you got to watch him. What did you think of Logan Wilson?
Yeah, he's still picking up the defense, and it's going to take some time. It's probably going to take another couple of weeks. I think it's why you saw him splitting green dot responsibilities with Kenneth Murray in this game. And Kenneth Murray, he helped force an interception, so maybe he feels the footsteps arriving behind him in the form of Logan Wilson. But I thought in the limited sample size that Logan Wilson had, I thought he was decisive, and I thought he made some. I thought he had some good things. The athleticism isn't as quite as on displays maybe I anticipated in a couple of areas, but again, it's game one, it's early. That's probably a guy that I'll put more in a review status 3-4 weeks from now.
Well, the first thing I would definitely say is there was an upgrade. There was an
Yeah,
obvious upgrade across the board.
for sure.
And if you look at all the moves, this team has made a lot of moves in
Yeah.
the last year, a lot. And now every team's making moves, right? But the Cowboys seem to be a little bit more active than some of the other teams with these dramatic trades that they've made in the span of three. Well, even let's go back, even more than that, back into the offseason, because and I'm talking like off season. I'm talking the spring when they made an acquisition that was pretty, I don't want to say controversial. That's the wrong word, but interesting when they traded for Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver George Pickens. It took George a second or two to get his feet under him, but he's having a terrific season. A season that I think we can get to the point to at least ask this as a fun sports debate question. Nick, is George Pickens better than CeeDee Lamb?
Yeah,
Hear me out. Hear me out. Just hear me
okay.
out. Hear me out.
Okay.
This is just a fun sports debate topic. That's
Okay.
all. George this season, 58 catches, 908 yards, 7 touchdowns. CeeDee Lamb, 40 catches, 557 yards, 2 touchdowns. Obviously, a very important detail that you've got to include, CeeDee Lamb has played 3 fewer games because of injuries. However, those are 2 highly productive players. And when you watch, they're different guys, but when you watch George, boys, he's really come around. He looks terrific. I don't know if he's better than CeeDee, but clearly this is the best tandem that they've had.
It's been a while. Is it
better than when Amari was opposite CeeDee?
Yes. Yeah, because CeeDee was still getting things figured out. He was still early on. I would go back to when Alvin Harper was playing really well next to Michael Irvin.
That's pretty heady stuff. The other one I would have said was maybe Dez Bryant opposite Terrence Williams. There was a window of time in there. They were both really good.
Yeah.
But I think you're right. I think when we're looking at tandems, Alvin Harper, Michael Irvin. That's what these guys belong in that discussion. But asking you specifically, is George better than CeeDee?
It's funny because when George Pickens was acquired, a lot of the talk was about how much it would open up CeeDee Lamb, and it would give CeeDee Lamb more opportunities. And it's kind of been the opposite because you've seen defenses dedicate their number one corner to George Pickens and then double up CeeDee Lamb. That's happened multiple times this season. So CeeDee has had to work through traffic, basically. But it's opened up George Pickens for one-on-one opportunities against whatever corner that opposing defenses feel like is their number one. Granted, they haven't played the strongest of secondaries this season, sans Denver. And Denver, that was probably the offense's worst performance this season, given that reason why. But it's actually opened up George Pickens for more opportunities, CeeDee's presence. Because CeeDee, you can move him up, you can move him around, you can move him in the slot, you can move him in the backfield, even though he hasn't been in the backfield since he had that high ankle sprain. I would not say that George Pickens is a better receiver than CeeDee Lamb, but I would say that George Pickens has given you a level of dynamic playmaking and consistency. Consistency is the important part this year specifically that CeeDee has not given you. When I say the consistency part, I think back to the drops that CeeDee Lamb had in week 1. I think to the drops that he had in this game on a 4th down in the red zone. If he just hauls it in and walks in, it's a touchdown. But, maybe he had some leftover tequila.
He wasn't feeling well, under the weather.
Yeah, flu game, you call it the desert flu. And so regardless, I thought I think George Pickens is heavily earning his money. It's a fascinating conversation, though, Mac, because when it comes time to pay him that money this offseason, if they decide to do so, is $34 million the money that CeeDee Lamb is making per year? Is that going to be the floor for George Pickens, or is that going to be the ceiling for George Pickens? And I think he's starting to prove that that's going to be the floor.
So my question about that is, does he get to free agency? Does he get to the open market?
No, I don't think they're going to let him walk. I think at the very least he gets a franchise tag, and it becomes a messy situation. But I think regardless, the Cowboys are not going to relinquish control on George Pickens.
The franchise tag, I hate it. I know players have been very critical of it. And I do want to say one thing. When I hear players are being critical about certain details, it really irks me that they're their union representation is so bad. And I've been hypercritical of, certain sports unions. The baseball players union is the best one by a mile. The NFL one is almost as bad as the NBA one. And I'm like, listen, you don't have that much control. You don't. A millionaire is never going to beat a billionaire, but you have there is strength in numbers. And if I look at some of these fines that are levied for just stupid things, Nick, and I go nuts, I'm like, why are you agreeing to a $500,000 fine? Why are you agreeing to $50,000 fines? That's a ton of money. Yeah. And, when it comes to the franchise tag, I understood why they did it, but I'm like, why would you agree to it? That's a point you can win.
Yeah.
And they don't. So when it comes to George, specifically with the franchise tag, we have seen certain players, as much as they hate it, they deal with it. And other guys hate it, and it completely affects their performance. The one that I can think of, who was the safety with the Seattle Seahawks who was so mad about his contract? Was it Earl Thomas?
Could have been Earl Thomas, Cam Chancellor. One of those two guys.
I think it was Earl, because he suffered a season-ending injury. They put him on the cart, and he's given the middle finger to the sideline, to the Seahawks sideline, his team, as they cart him off. And there's certain guys where it really affects them. Other guys can be pros about it. DeMarcus Lawrence was a pro about it.
Yeah.
Anthony Spencer. Pardon? Dak Prescott. Yeah. Now, Dak was different. Dak had already made a lot of money. But you made a good point. I don't get – just from 1,000 yards out, I don't get the impression George Pickens is going to be a guy who's going to deal with a franchise tag very well. What do you think?
Dak in 2020, that's what I think of. Dak in 2020 when he was tagged. And then and coming off the field in week 5 or whatever it was. I hadn't made a lot of money to that point. But George Pickens, knowing his representation, knowing how they typically like to do things, I'd be surprised if he played on a franchise tag.
Oh, okay.
I think a franchise tag would be more so the Cowboys saying, hey, we're going to keep this as a placeholder so that we can continue conversations about a extension all the way up until training camp. If we don't get one done, then at least we still have control. And if you decide to be difficult about it, how Micah Parsons was last year, then at least it gives them leverage to potentially move on from him and still get something in return. But I don't see there is a 0% chance that the Cowboys will let him just walk to free agency for nothing.
All right. Nick Harris here on Cowboys Overtime saying the Dallas Cowboys will trade George Pickens next
No, definitely not. But they would get a third-round compensatory pick if they did decide to just let him walk, but they're not going to do so.
Okay. Did you ever see The Shawshank Redemption?
I did. It's my second favorite movie of all time.
Behind what?
Interstellar.
Really?
I love Interstellar. Fantastic.
You understood Interstellar? I haven't figured it out. I've seen it like 3 times. I have no idea what the hell's going on.
Oh, it's a fantastic movie.
All right. You and I are going to have to talk about that on Sunday. So, little known fact, Shawshank Redemption was not shot in Maine. It was shot in Ohio. Mansfield, Ohio. That's where the prison is. That's where the real prison is. I visited that. That was like the week before you started with the Star Telegram. I stopped off and I visited that prison in Ohio. They shot it all over there. All right, okay, Candy, we'll hurry up. Candy, Linda, your daughter's all over it.
She's trying to be courteous of me.
I know. Okay, is hope a dangerous thing, or is hope the best of things, Nick?
It's somewhere in between.
No, don't do that fence crap. We're doing Shawshank. Which one are you? Are you red or are you Andy Dufresne?
It's a great thing. It's a great thing.
Hope is a great thing. Should we hope and think the Dallas Cowboys can make the playoffs? They're in 10th place right now. 10th.
Yeah. Probably not. I'll let you know. I'll let you know when it's time to buy into the hopium. I'll let you know. Right now is not the time.
When is that gonna be, like Christmas? Like the middle of January when they're out of it? Yeah, Mac, don't hope.
It's going to be after the Kansas City Chiefs game. You will know where this season is heading after that game. Because if they win these next 2, then yes, I say buy into the hopium. If they lose these next 2, then I'm saying it's cooked.
Okay, I think this is crack pipe stupid. They're not making the playoffs. Predictions: huge game on Sunday, massive. Defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles rolling into AT&T Stadium at 8-2 with the quarterback who doesn't look like he's ever played football, and a wide receiver that, I don't know, they don't throw to against the Dallas Cowboys. 3:30 Fox. Philly minus 3.5. Cowboys kind of beat the Eagles in week 1. Kind of. That's when CeeDee Lamb decided he didn't want to catch the football. Anybody check what he was doing out in the middle of the night that night in Philly? All right. Who do you got?
I'm going to take the Cowboys in this game. I think they win this game, and I don't think they cover. I do think they win this game, though. It's a 3-point win. We'll say that.
All right. I'm buying that one. I'll go with you on that one. I can't even tell you how many times I picked the Cowboys this season. I'm so stupid. All right, last, and we got like a couple minutes because this is the one I really want to talk about. All right, the college football playoff season is in its last quarter of the regular season. We've got 5 teams in the great state of Texas, 5 in the top 25. Texas A&M at 3, number 3, 10-0. Texas Tech 7-1, ranked 5th. Texas 7-3, ranked 17th. Hey, its head coach isn't going anywhere. The University of Houston, which hosts TCU, 8-2, ranked 23, and in the AP poll, the one that matters, the University of North Texas, damn right, 9-1. Give me some of that stone cold. 22nd. All right, who's the best team in Texas? A&M, Tech, or UT? We know it's not UT or UNT, but it's fun to talk about. Who's the best team?
I'm going to go with Texas A&M.
Going with Texas Tech.
Yeah. You're going with Texas Tech?
Yes, I am, because here's what. Hear me
Texas
out.
A&M going to Tempe without their starting quarterback and lose. That's the one thing that gives me pause.
This is why I'm going to say it.
Okay.
A&M's really good. I mean, you're 10-0 in the SEC. You're really, really good. 4 of their wins against SEC teams. SMU's not ranked, Candy. I don't want to hear it.
They might make the playoff. There's
a small window. There's a small window they could. I think it's going to be Chandler Morris's UVA Cavaliers. The best. This is why I'm hesitant about A&M. 4 of their wins against SEC teams have fired their coaches. Okay, their best win by far was going into Notre Dame and barely winning that game. But they won the game. So I don't care. Oh, they barely won. Nope, they won, and they won in a really hard place against a really, really good team. The reason why I'm putting my money on Tech, that is the best front 7 money can buy.
It is.
And I'm sorry, if you give me a defensive front 7, especially 4 that can get there without selling their soul, that's a team that can really screw things up. Now, yeah. I can't speak to the skill guys. You could speak better than that, but I'm always looking at defensive fronts. And if you can get there with 3 or 4 guys, we've seen it time and time again, you can really be a problem for other teams. You make a great point about the Arizona State game. That wasn't it, but every other game, they are demolishing teams.
Yeah.
Crushing them. And Cody Campbell, Joey McGuire, Kirby Hocutt, the AD at Texas, give them credit. They've done it. Texas doesn't belong in this conversation. Now, UNT, they are not the highest group of 5 team right now, but they do have a chance to get to the American Athletic Conference championship game. Their loss to South Florida did not kill them because South Florida has lost twice. If UNT can get to that game, which they would host, and they win it, do you think they will be the group of 5 team to get in?
Tulane would host as of today.
Oh, Tulane. That's right. Thank you.
Tulane is the one that got the group of 5 bid. Yep. And I have beef about this because the committee changes their mind every week, and it drives me insane. So Tulane, who is 8-2, lost to a 5-5 UTSA team by 22 points.
Right, not just lost; they got crushed.
They got on primetime television on a Thursday night earlier. It may have been a Friday night, but it was a weekday night earlier in the season. They are ranked above a 9-1 North Texas team. Granted, a 9-1 James Madison team that I think probably should have also been above a Tulane team.
Totally agree.
This James Madison team. Their only loss was by 14 points at Louisville. Played well in that game, just didn't win. They have crushed the Sun Belt aside from that. I don't understand why Tulane is getting the praise above those 2 teams as the G5 spot, other than they have been the consistent moniker, I guess you could say, for the group of 5 over the course of the past half decade. But you talk to Tulane fans who have certainly gotten in my comments since I've brought up this committee issue, and they said that they had 2 Power 5 wins, which, sure, you beat Duke. Okay, all right. Duke. You beat Northwestern. Northwestern is playing on the river and or playing on the lake in Chicago.
Dude, have you seen that stadium? That stadium is awesome.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. I can't lie.
Pretty cool.
I hate that they're building a new one. I wish they would
So do I. I wish they would just keep that one.
Because they never sold that place out unless it was like Oregon coming to town.
Right.
But anyway, I hate it.
Don't get, here's what bothers me so much about, and you can always you can take any pile of statistics you want to make your point, right? Anything in any different direction. I mean, we lived it globally in 2020. Everybody was doing it, right? The whole COVID thing and mask this and that. So now, sports has always been the worst about it. But this UNT thing drives me crazy. You've got probably one of the best offenses in college football. And okay, if you want to take a group of 5, if you're going to do that, to me, James Madison probably should be the one on top, probably.
Yeah.
I just don't get why it's Tulane.
I expected James Madison.
So did I. Absolutely so did I. But when I saw this, I'm like, ooh, there's a chance. You got a chance now. Yeah. Because to me, if you beat Tulane, then that means you should do it. They can't keep killing them. That loss against South Florida was awful. I mean, they were just terrible. That was such an ugly game. You got the primetime game. It's packed. It's awesome. And they go out and blow it. Right now, do you think UNT gets in?
Yes, I do.
All right. I love it. So do I.
I think they run the table. They would have to go to Tulane and win the American Conference Championship. You know what? I'm going to call it. I think they do. I think they're playing their best ball right now, and Drew Mestemaker is really feeling it. He was on SportsCenter on what was it, Tuesday, and he looks like he's been here forever. So
it's exciting. It's really exciting.
I agree.
All right, Cowboys host the Eagles 3:30 on Sunday. We'll be there for all of your Cowboys coverage and North Texas coverage needs. Check us out on StarTelegram.com. Nick, it's been great to talk to you. Candy, we're out of 10. See you next week.